Jake Sullivan. Jacob Jeremiah Sullivan was born on November 28, 1976. Jake Sullivan is an American attorney who served as the U.S. National Security Advisor from 2021 to 2025 under President Joe Biden. Under then President Joe Biden. Sullivan previously served as Director of Policy to President Barack Obama, National Security Advisor to then Vice President Biden, and Deputy Chief of Staff to Secretary Hillary Clinton at the U.S. Department of State. Sullivan also served as Senior Advisor to the U.S. federal government at the Iran nuclear negotiations and Senior Policy Advisor to Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, as well as visiting professor at Yale Law School. On November 23rd, 2020, then President-elect Biden announced that Sullivan would be appointed the National Security Advisor. He took office on January 20th of 2021. Sullivan was born in Burlington, Vermont, to a family of Irish descent and grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His father worked for the Star Tribune and was a professor at the University of Minnesota School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and his mother was a high school guidance counselor. Sullivan attended Southwest High School in Minneapolis, where he graduated in 1994. He was a Coca-Cola Scholar, whatever that means, debate champion, president of the student council, and voted most likely to succeed in his class. Educated in the United States and United Kingdom, Sullivan first attended Yale University, where he majored in international studies and political science and was awarded the Alpheus Henry Snow Prize. He was inducted to Phi Beta Kappa his senior year and graduated summa cum laude with distinction in 1998 with a Bachelor of Arts. Sullivan won a Rhodes Scholarship to attend Magdalen College, Oxford, where he studied international relations. He was also awarded Marshall Scholarship, which he declined in favor of the Rhodes. While at Oxford, Sullivan served as managing editor of the Oxford International Review. He graduated with a Master of Philosophy. He graduated with a Juris Doctor from Yale Law School in 2003. He is a member and former board member of the Truman National Security Project. At Yale, he was an editor of the Yale Law Journal, the Yale Law and Policy Review, and the Yale Daily News. He had interned at the Council on Foreign Relations, was a member of the Yale Debate Association, and earned a Truman Scholarship in his junior year. He also worked for Brookings Institution President Strobe Talbot at the Yale Center for the Study of Globalization. After graduating from law school, Sullivan clerked for Judge Guido Calabresi of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, and then for Associate Justice Stephen Breyer of the United States Supreme Court. After his clerkship, Sullivan returned to his hometown of Minneapolis to practice law at Fager and Benson, and taught law as an adjunct professor at the University of St. Thomas School of Law. At Fager and Benson, Sullivan worked as chief counsel to Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, who connected him to Hillary Clinton. Wow. Who's doing all this information? My goodness. Sullivan is, I'm skipping a lot of stuff here. Sullivan will join the faculty of the Harvard Kennedy School on April 1st, 2025 as the inaugural Kissinger Professor of the Practice of Stagecraft and World Order. Okay. Sullivan is married to Maggie Goodlander, who has represented New Hampshire's 2nd Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives since 2025. A Yale graduate, Goodlander is a former intelligence officer in the United States Navy Reserve who served as a foreign policy advisor to Senators Joe Lieberman and John McCain, and as a law clerk to then Chief Judge Merrick Garland of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit and Associate Justice Stephen Breyer of the United States Supreme Court. They married in 2015 and live in Nashua, New Hampshire, with homes in Washington, D.C. and Portsmouth, New Hampshire. In late April 2023, an unknown man reportedly entered Sullivan's home in the West End neighborhood of Washington, D.C. at around 3 a.m., but then left before Secret Service agents were alerted. Sullivan discovered the man because he was still working at the time.